Welcome to the economics portion of optimization, and we're going to talk about three terms here: revenue, cost, and profit. Okay, so let's just kind of do a quick thing here. We're going to talk about more specifics, but revenue is all the money that you take in. Cost is of course with money, but it is the cost of what you have sold, and the profits is the difference between the two. So they're all money. But revenue is all the money that you take in. This is the money that costs whether you produce or make your item, and the profit is after you receive all this money, take away the cost of doing it. The profit is the money that you get to keep or that you're making money. Okay? So let's look at some terms here. So we're going to look at revenue. And I'm going to be real specific here. It says the company pond produces one type of item. If the company sells X items per year, like we'll say 60 or 100 items, we will call the price of each item little p of x. So this is lowercase p of x. So this stands for the price of X items, is what that means. Okay? The total revenue of all the money that I gather for selling that many items is R of X equals X times P of X. So the capital R stands for revenue. Okay, and this is the number of items that I have. Is how many I sell, that's the number, times the price of each item. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. So, say I sell t-shirts, okay, and I'm going to sell t-shirts for $20 a piece. So here's an example. I'm going to sell some t-shirts, and I'm going to sell t-shirts for, we'll say, $20 a piece. If I sell 300 of them, okay, how much money did I make? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. I made $6,000 in revenue. That's not counting that I paid for the t-shirts or anything like that. It just means that I sold them for $20 each and I sold 300. That is the actual cash that I received. That's your revenue. Notice this is my X. Excuse me. I apologize. This is my X, or the number that I sold. This is my price of each one. So it's X times P of X. That's my example. The cost of producing X units is given by C of X. So that's pretty easy. Cost with C. Okay? The average cost per item, and I want you to see this notation. Here's the C of X. See that bar across? That means average. It's kind of like you should be used to that because we've done the mean, and the mean was X bar. So this is the average cost. Is you take the total cost right here, and you divide it by the number of items that you have. So if I want to find the average cost per item, I'm going to take the total cost and divide it by the number of items. The last term we have here, so we've talked about cost, now we're talking about profit. The profit is found by evaluating revenue minus cost. So let me show you how this looks. So P of X, I'm going to use a different color here. The profit is going to be the revenue minus the cost. So let's look at this. Profit, which is the extra money you made. Okay, it's usually in dollars. And this is your revenue, which is all the money you took in, minus the cost that it cost to do business. All right. Another way we say that, so you got profit equals revenue minus cost. Notice it's capital R. The revenue we learned before was the number of items times the price of each item. So I've got the number of items times the price of each item minus the cost. So you can say that profit is also X times P of X minus the cost. All right, so there's a couple ways you can see it. You can see it this way, and I like to use that a lot, but you can make sure you know revenue. So there's two equations that you need to remember. So let's kind of put them at the top. All right, so these are the main ones. Ready? Revenue is, excuse me, let's try that again. Profit is revenue minus cost. That's the first main equation. The second one is revenue is the number of items times the price of each one. Okay, so those are two main equations that I want you to know when we do this. Now let's go down here further. We're going to talk about marginals now. Okay, so marginals is more, this is more for economics, but we're going to do a very, very simple and basic. Okay, so marginals are found by taking the derivative. All right, so marginal cost is shown by C prime, marginal profit is shown by P prime, and marginal revenue is by R prime. What does that mean in real world terms? So let's pretend we had 700 items of something. We're going to sell it. Okay, we can call them feasels if you will. C prime would mean the additional cost to produce the 701st item. That's what C prime would mean. So if I have X is 700, I want to know, okay, what additional cost for one more item? P prime is the additional money made from selling the 701st item. And revenue is the additional money from selling the 701st item. So this is the additional money that I get from selling that next month. This is the actual profit made, the additional profit made from selling the first item. So these two are different because you're talking profit and revenue. Marginal revenue equals a revenue increase when one additional item is sold. Marginal cost is the cost increase when one additional item is produced. Okay, so if you look at it, it's the change in revenue over the change in items, or dr dx, or we also will see it as r prime of x. Okay, so that's the change in items. C prime of x, okay, is the marginal cost for the next item, because you're talking slope. All right, so basically the question is, this is what the question is, if we're selling cars, if you make the first car all the way, now we're on, we'll say the 700th car, is it going to cost you the same to produce those? Well, that's always a big question. Is it going to cost the same? Well, basically, if you look at this, if you buy all the equipment to make the first car, you've already purchased your equipment. You already have the equipment, the labor, and you have perfected your technique. So chances are the cost for making the 700th car is going to be lower than the very first car because you have everything that you need. Right? So this is the basics of economics, and then we're going to do a problem next. So the next video we're going to do this one problem, so keep those in your notes.